Hi, Leah. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. I'm doing well. How are you?
I am fantastic. You know what? I got to watch the movie, and it is so funny. Like, just certain parts I can really relate with some of the parts of the film. How did you come up with the? Trust me, I can. As a single girl in St. Louis, I can understand. How did you come up with the idea for Heartbreakers?
Gosh, I was, well, first of all, Elaine and I, because we wrote it together, we went to college together, and I had been working in the film business, doing camera work and various other things. I always knew I wanted to, write and direct a film, and so I decided that, who better to do it with than my college girlfriend and, some of the crazy things that happened to us while we were in college. And so we started taking a screenwriting class with David Trottier. He wrote the Screenwriter's Bible. And so we came up, part of the course is to, come up with different concepts, and then you sort of like flesh out the ideas, and he, you write maybe 10 pages, or first you write a treatment, and then you send it in to him, and he, makes his comments and writes back. And so we kind of came up with a few ideas. And then one of them was Heartbreakers. We were living down near the beach, and we were just talking about what could be really funny, and I actually remember sitting there and we were sitting in these lawn chairs, and we just said, and I'm talking about how funny would it be if these girls like club men over the head. We kind of came up with the concept. Men used to club women over the head thousands of years ago. So we kind of started there, and we sent it in to David, the teacher, and he loved it. And he was like, I think, so between our different ideas, he was like, I think you should go with this one. So we started working on it. We did a couple, like maybe 10 pages, and then the class ended, and we just, continued on writing the script, and till it was finished.
Did you have a hand in the casting of this?
Yeah, I did. It was sort of like a two-part thing. One of them was I did, auditions, and so I auditioned different people. But as far as like the main talent, that was actually sort of a surprise. Another producer on the show got in touch with an agent, and he happened to be repping several of the actors that were in my film. So, I was inquiring about I can't remember who it was. I think it was Tom Arnold, actually. And then he's like, I got sticky fingers. And then that's how Sophie Monk actually got the script. And then she, had seen the script, I guess, from him, and contacted me and said she really wanted to come and sort of audition and try to get the part. And so she came down. I put her on camera with the camera and the other actress, and it was sort of like, it just felt right. I knew. I was like, she's perfect for it. I kind of was writing it with like an Anna Faris in mind, kind of the crazy wild blonde that's like got that, very funny kind of attitude and stuff. So, and Sophie just, she nailed it. So, we hired her. So yeah, to answer your question, it was this agent that we got in touch with who, suggested and recommended these other people in the cast, and I was like, great, yeah, I'll take them.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was really lucky. It was within a few days of shooting the movie, too, so it just, came together at the last second. It was crazy.
Now, how long did it actually take to shoot this film?
We shot it in 21 days.
Oh, wow.
Very fast. Yeah, really, really, really fast.
Wow. Were those long days?
No, because I couldn't go over 12 hours because then I had to pay the crew double time. Forced into going union because, when you shoot in L.A., it sort of becomes an issue. I got pressured into it, and so I could only shoot 12-hour days. I had to be in and out by that time. So, no. So it was just we were working so fast, and some of the members of the crew said to me, they're like, I've never been constantly busy, constantly doing stuff on the set. Usually, you'll kind of set up and wait, and time goes by, and then you shoot, and they kind of, the crew gets used to just kicking back a little bit, but everybody was on it, constantly because we were just moving so quickly. And I had the best grip and electrics team that, it's a lot of it is setting up the lights and everything, and they were so fast. It was incredible because I've been on some huge $100 million budget movies, working as a camera assistant and stuff like that, and so I know how long it takes, but these guys were faster than I've ever seen in my life, so they saved me.
Well, this is your first full-length film.
Yeah.
How did you prepare yourself for that? Did you find your groove right off the bat, or was it a little nerve-wracking?
I have been chomping at the bit to direct a film since I was 18 years old, so I was ready. I mean, I got to say, it was intense, like going, to the studio the first day and seeing. What scared the hell out of me was seeing the signs, the little movie signs that they put up on the road. And it said Heartbreakers, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really happening, and like I started to sweat and stuff, and like it freaked me out, when it was like finally a reality. But but getting on the set, not at all. I mean, I really felt my groove. I know a lot about camera, like lenses, and I worked on as a camera assistant. So what you do as a camera assistant, you put all the the whole camera package together. You build the camera, and the lenses. And I've seen directors like John Frankenheimer and Robert Altman. I've seen them work, and so I was like really always paying attention to like lens size and like dolly shots and these shots. And so I had it pretty much storyboarded out in my mind. I had gone through the entire film and given descriptions of all the shots so that people knew what we were doing. And I think I prepared myself, so I was not afraid at all to kind of jump in on the first day. No.
Now, were they given? Did they get to do any sort of improv with it, or was it strictly the writing?
It was almost all improv. I mean, there was. We had funny stuff between the girls. The girls kind of stuck to the script, but they did kind of ad-lib, and we were very, I was very flexible with that because, when you're making a comedy, sometimes the actor gets there on the set and they say the lines, and it's like, wait a minute, this isn't funny now. It's funny.
Yeah.
Something that's funny on a page doesn't necessarily translate. So we would just be creative, and, I encourage the actors, actually. I'm like, say whatever you want. I was like, let's kind of be wild here, and so in the case of like Chris Kattan, every single take was totally different, and he was just making stuff up, and it was actually funny because I was like, certain lines, I'm like, we have to say these certain lines because it's part of the plot points, but other than that, I kind of let them just run with it. It was a very collaborative process.
I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed the film. I really did. But I'm just curious.
I'm so happy because I've actually been getting some backlash from some women that have seen it. Like, the guys are loving it, and which has kind of surprised me. Well, I knew that. I thought the men would enjoy it. I wanted it to be enjoyable for men and women. But I've had some women being like, well, what do you mean this is empowering to women? Like, they're sitting around in bikinis and this and that, and I'm kind of like, look, the girls are they're on a journey to self-empowerment. They don't start off at the beginning, feeling empowered. They're empowered by the end of the film. So I was trying to kind of say, look, this is what the young people of today are into. I mean, just turn on television and look at MTV and see where. I wanted to speak to the young people where they're at, what they're interested in, and so it's funny. I've had a couple.
It's so funny that people just don't know how to. I take a fucking joke. Sorry, I'm totally cussing. I'm a snarky one.
It's hilarious. You're right.
But they don't know how to take a joke. Hell, my friends and I would sit around and talk like that. So it was nice. I mean, I'm 30, but I'm not dead, and I'm not a prude. I think people look too hard into certain films. I mean, you've got to take a film for what it is. It's an enjoyable comedy, and that's what it is.
Exactly. Thank you so much. It was difficult because, and it's funny because even I think feminists, I don't know, there's something about, I'm really feeling that there's something about, the stigma that women cannot talk about their sexuality, especially young women. Like, we had Sex in the City, which was amazing, and like finally the women get out there and they tell their side of the story. But they were older women. It's almost like, okay, it's okay if you're like, a little bit older, but for some reason it's like, feels like there's a real stigma with young people and young women and talking about sexuality or talking about casual sex is very taboo. It's even I think among people that consider themselves feminists.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like, oh, well then, you can't go there. I mean, you can't talk about those types of things like, there's like this whole, my husband calls it the Madonna and the horror complex.
Yeah.
It's like got to be one or the other. And so I'm kind of happy to be kind of breaking through that stigma and the sort of that taboo. And it's interesting to see people's reaction. I'm really actually fascinated to see how people react to the film. If anything, I think it says a lot about them,
Sex is awkward because people make it a box of awkward. They make it just absolutely the pink elephant in the room. And it doesn't have to be, and it can be lighthearted. And girls talk just as bad, if not worse, than guys. So I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think it's delightful.
That's great.
Well, what's next for you?
Well, I've got a couple scripts in development, another fun kind of outrageous comedy. And I've got an action script, which is like a bigger budget, so I might have to like work my way up to that point to be able to make that film. But it's a kind of a wild action film. And then I have another, more of like a black comedy. It deals with relationships between men and women. It takes a little more serious tone, just from being, the daughter of parents who are totally dysfunctional, and kind of like I'm really interested in this whole like what happens to people when they're like, okay, we get married, we follow the program, we get married, we have the kids, we do the thing, and then just like something like deteriorates between men and women, and they go into that kind of like stereotypical like relationship of like the sort of the Al and Peg Bundy kind of thing, and
nice.
And like my parents were terrible. I mean, it seemed like they hated each other, that they were just like living under the same roof. And I'm really kind of interested in that. I want to explore that, and I want to see like why the script deals with that. And so I think I'm going to focus on that one. But the comedy the other outrageous comedy is actually another one that I'm working on. I'm excited to do. I think it could be a nice follow-up to Heartbreakers because it's got the same kind of fun, silly comedy thing going for it.